hope that you are well, and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we are doing our grade 6 English lesson on quotations and dialogues. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 6, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of quotations and dialogue. All right, so our chapter is quotations and dialogue. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 6. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of quotations and dialogue is formatting quotations and dialogues. All right, so when it comes to quotations, right, or dialogues, a quotation, or we use quotation marks around a direct quotation from a speaker or a written source. And a direct quotation can be written in many or several ways, right? A quotation can come after the speaker tags. For example, we can say the speaker declared, "We can succeed by working together." All right, so once again, we can say that we use quotation marks around a direct quotation, right? And a direct quotation is either from a speaker or it can be a written source, right? And a direct quotation, right? It can either be written, actually, it can be written in many ways, right? It can be written in several ways, and we're going to find out how, right? So, firstly, a quotation, right? It can come after the speaker tag. So, quotation can come after a speaker tag, right? And an example of that is the speaker declared, right? So now we're basically saying what the speaker is saying. We are going to directly quote, we're going to directly quote what the speaker is saying. So it says the speaker declared, meaning he said or stated, we can succeed by working together. This is basically the direct words that the speaker said, and we put that in quotation marks, right? And that basically gives us an indication that that is the direct words that the speaker had declared or the speaker had said. Another word can be where we say, he demanded. This is not somebody demanding, right? He demanded, who's there? You did not say that. That is someone else who said that. So you are basically just repeating what that person had said. And once we repeat what the person had said by saying the direct words of what somebody had said, then we put that in quotation marks. And that is what direct quotation means. So we can use a comma to separate the speaker tag from the quotation. So we can use we can use a comma to separate the speaker tag from the quotation. And then we capitalize the first word of the quotation, right? So this is the speaker tag. For example, where we say the speaker declared, or he demanded, or she said, that is a speaker tag. All right. So also the quotation, right? It can also come before. So we said yeah, our quotation comes after the speaker tag, but we can also have a quotation that can come before a speaker tag. And remember, a speaker tag is like either way we say the speaker said, he said, they said, the speaker declared, he demanded, right? That is a speaker tag. So the quotation can also come before a speaker tag. And it says, we. This is not in our quotation. We're now specifically saying directly what the person had said. It says, we can succeed by working together, right? And yeah, the speaker declared, and that is a speaker tag. Another one is, who's there? And that comes just before the speaker tag. All right. So unless the quotation ends with a question mark, so unless a quotation ends with a question mark, right, or with an exclamation mark or exclamation point, then we can separate it from a speaker tag with a comma. But we do not capitalize the speaker tag unless it begins with a proper noun or a pronoun I. So do not capitalize a speaker tag unless it begins with a proper noun or a pronoun, which is I. All right. So remember when it also comes to quotations, right? Quotations is like we said, it is direct words from what either a speaker had said or a written source had written down. So if, for example, it is not your own words, so if it's not your own words and you want to basically directly say what the other person had said, and then we need to put that in quotation marks. All right. So now we're also going to continue, right? So we continuing now with also with quotations. And a quotation, right, or the quotations can also be interrupted by a speaker tag, right? Remember we said speaker tags is when we say what the person is about to say. So the quotation, it can be interrupted by the speaker tags. For example, it says, "We can succeed," the speaker declared, "by working together." So we can succeed. You see, this is now what someone had directly said. We can succeed. This is our speaker tag, the speaker declared, by working together. So the words that is in quotation marks are basically direct words that the speaker had said, right? But here they are interrupting us by basically telling us, it's almost like they basically interrupting us by the speaker tag. All right. So we can use commas to separate the speaker tag from the quotation, but do not capitalize the second part of the quotation. So we can use commas to separate the speaker tag basically from the quotation, like we did over here, right? Where we said we can succeed, comma, the speaker declared, comma, by working together. So we use commas to separate the speaker tags from the quotation, and we do not capitalize the second part of the quotation, this one over here. We do not capitalize that part. So commas and periods, right? It always go inside closing quotations or quotation marks. Question marks and exclamation points should go inside only when they are part of a quotation. For example, who is there? So if you ask a question, right, and your question ends with a question mark, then your what the person your direct quotation plus your question mark or exclamation point needs to be inside of the quotation. Another thing is he demanded, that is a speaker tag. Who's there? So here the speaker tag is after and before, after, but here the speaker tag is before. Who's there? And our question mark is inside of our quotation. So the quotation mark is basically part, or the question mark is basically part of our quotation mark. So place it inside the closing quotation mark, right? No additional commas or periods is needed, just our question mark. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we're going to continue with our quotations and dialogues. And remember, dialogues is basically a conversation between two or more people. All right, we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we're going to be formatting quotations and dialogues. All right. So we had mentioned that we use quotation marks around a direct quotation from a speaker or written source. And remember, a direct quotation is what somebody directly had said, or basically what somebody had directly had written, right? So it's not your own words, and then it means that you need to put that in quotation marks because it's not your words. You are basically repeating what the person had said, but now you need to put it in quotation marks because it is not your direct words. It's what somebody else had directly said, and you are just repeating, but now we're putting it in quotation marks. All right. So we use quotation marks around a direct quotation from a speaker or written source, and a direct quotation can be written in several ways. It can be written after a speaker tag, before a speaker tag. It can also be written when a quotation can be interrupted by a speaker tag, and then you have basically the speaker, then you have the quotation before as well as after the speaker tag, right? And then we can also write it when we have our commas and our periods that always go inside our closing quotation marks, right? And then question marks and exclamation points should go inside only when they are part of a quotation. All right. And remember when you do write what somebody had directly said, and then you basically just gonna have to follow how the steps are of writing a quotation before a speaker tag or after a speaking tag. All right. So if we look at an example, right, of how we can write a direct quotation from a speaker, right, or from a written source, and the quotation that comes after a speaker tag, here we have an example where we say, the speaker declared we can succeed by working together. So we can succeed by working together. That is not what the person said, that is what the speaker had directly said. Or we can say, he demanded, who's there? And we basically have to use the comma to separate the speaker tag from the quotation, like we have over here. He demanded, comma, who's there? And yet we capitalize the first word of our quotation. And then the quotation can come after the speaker tag, which says we can succeed by working together, the speaker declared. So we also put a comma, but now if our, let's say our speaker tag comes after our quotation, we still add a comma, right? Depending, but we do not capitalize it. And if our quotation, our direct quotation either ends with a question mark or with an exclamation point, and then we don't add the comma, we just continue with our speaker tag by saying he said, she said, they said. All right. So now let's go to our test, and then we are going to look at formatting and formatting quotations as well as dialogues. All right. So it says correct any errors in capitalization or punctuation. Your answer should be a single sentence. It says the first option says children. Lady Bird Johnson cautioned are likely to live up to whatever you believe of them. Or is it the next option, which is basically, oh, or we say children, comma, the comma is inside, Lady Bird Johnson cautioned, are likely to live up to whatever you believe of them. So is the comma inside of the quotation or outside of the quotation? We need to choose the correct one. All right. Ooh, so the comma is actually inside, not outside. All right, it says, I've been meaning to ask, said the detective, whether you happen to write down the license plate of that stolen car. Or do we say, I've been meaning to ask, said the detective, whether you happen to write down the license plate of the stolen car? We need to choose the correct quotation. Option two. All right, let's try option two. And option two is correct. So well done. All right, the next one says the best way to have a good idea, comma is outside, advise scientists and activists Linus Pauling is to have lots of ideas. So either that base both of those quotations is basically the same. It's just that the check where the punctuations are. The comma is either inside or the comma is outside of the quotation. So option one or option two. All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, then yes, option two is correct. So well done, guys. Well done. It says there's only one. It says you gain strength, courage, and confidence, claimed Eleanor Roosevelt, by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. Yeah, they only have one, nothing else. So that is correct. All right, let's go to the next one. It says correct any errors in capitalization or punctuations, right? You always know you've learned something well, Vera said, when you can teach it to somebody else. Or is it option two? Either option one, where the punctuations or commas is outside of the quotation, or where option two, where it's inside of the quotations. So we need to choose the correct option. All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, again, it is option two. So well done. The next one says, while a tourist is one who merely passes through, the hotel manager explained, a traveler thrives on direct experiences. So we need to choose option one or option two. Option two, the period or comma is inside, while a tourist is one who merely passes through. The hotel manager explained, a traveler thrives on direct experience. All right, and if we choose the correct one, then we'll choose option two, right? That is basically where our punctuation is inside of our quotation, right? Commas as well as our period. The next one says, don't judge me by my age, and I won't judge you by yours. The gray haired man said with a wink. So don't judge me by my age, and I won't judge you by yours, the gray haired man said with a wink. Option one or option two? And if we choose the correct one, we'll choose option two. Well done, guys. All right, it says poet Maya Angelou advised, be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Either option one or option two. Poet Maya Angelou advised, be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. All right, and if we choose the correct one, we'll go with option two. So well done. Seems like all of our answers is option two. Well done. Promise you'll write to me as soon as you get there, implored Bruno. So promise you'll write to me as soon as you get there, implored you implored, Bruno. We need to choose option one or option two. And if we choose the correct one, we'll once again say, promise you'll write to me as soon as you get there, option two. So well done. Option two again is correct. We need to correct any errors in capitalization or punctuations, right? Sir Francis Bacon remarked, in charity there is no excess. In charity there is no excess. Option one or option two? And if we choose the correct one, we will choose option 2. All right. So once again, right? So we went over the test. So well done, everybody, for basically getting everything right. Um, Even though everything also was by option 2, but at least you have an idea of where our punctuations or our capitalizations needs to be when it comes to our quotations, right? So basically, once again, before we end of our lesson, we had to format quotations and dialogues. They didn't specifically really talk about a dialogue, but a dialogue is a conversation between two or more people. Dialogues are also things that it's like we have a conversation, and if I want to repeat what somebody had said, I can also put that in quotation marks because it is not my words. I am just directly saying what the next person had said, right? So which means that I put the whatever somebody had said, I directly put it in the quotation mark to show that this is what the person had said, right? So you can say Nadine said, and then I say what the next person had said, right? So we use quotation marks around a direct quotation from a speaker or a written source. Written sources is either in the from a book, from an article, or something that you read. And now when you take something and make it your own, you need to use a direct quotation, right? And that is why we say direct quotations can happen in many ways. Because remember, whatever you take, right, and make it your own, or you say something and you make it your own, that is called plagiarism, right? So whatever the speaker had said, a written source had said, you need to directly quote what the person has said. All right. So thanks to you guys for interacting. Thanks for you guys for focusing, right? And I hope that you guys have a better understanding about quotations, right, and dialogues, and how you should actually write a quotation, especially when you're going to be writing essays and so on. But guys, you should have a good evening further, right? Till next time. Goodbye. Thank you. I appreciate it.